Okay, it's the deadlift video you've all been waiting for. So the way I want to break this down for you guys is show you the 3 most common errors I see when people deadlift. And then I want to show you how to overcome these by showing you my deadlift and the cues that I go through mentally to be able to piece it together and get the reps as consistent as I possibly can. All right, everyone feel free to take as much offense to these as you can, because these are all, if you do this, you know you do this. Common thing I see people do is they set everything up perfectly, they get down into the right position, but then as they pull the slack out of the bar, rather than keeping their arms long, they just drop down a little bit and then push back up. And what this does is, as they drop down, they're losing the tension in their upper back and their lats, and then when they push, they're really just relying on their upper body to pull the bar off the ground rather than their legs to push the floor away from them. If you do deadlifts like this, it's going to start to slow down as it gets heavier and heavier, and it's going to create more and more arch through your lower back, and it's going to feel much more low back than anything else. And number 2 is getting everything set at the top, but then rushing to get down to the bar and then losing that position and ending up overly round. It's okay to have a bit of rounding in our upper back, but we definitely don't want rounding through our lower back. As you can see, that's just not going to be a very strong position to lift from, because I can't use my upper back properly, I can't use my lats properly. And person number 3 is the person who has their shins too close to the bar, so that when they push their knees through, they push the bar away from them, and then as the bar leaves the ground, it swings forward. So the goal is always to have the bar over the middle of our foot, but now when this bar swings forward, we have to sort of pull the bar back towards us, which is going to be very, very inefficient as the bar gets heavier. So if we look at a deadlift for what it is a full body exercise where I'm using my upper body to create as much tension and stability as possible so I can control where the bar moves. And I'm trying to use my legs to create as much force as possible to push into the ground and actually lift the weight. So my upper body holds the weight in place and controls where the bar goes. My legs actually push the weight back up. Getting the right parts of your body doing the right things will make all the difference. And if anything's not doing its job, it's going to be the reason that you can't lift heavier weight. So when I set up to deadlift, the first thing I'm going to do is step into the right position. So I'm going to put my feet about shoulder width apart and straight ahead. I don't need any angle at my toes. I want the bar to be over the middle part of my foot. So think, I'm not wearing shoes, but where my shoelaces would be. I don't want the bar to be right against my shins where I'm going to hit it out of the way, and I don't want it to be too far away that it's going to swing away from my body. The second thing I'm going to do is set my upper body nice and tight. So as you can see, I'm just in my normal resting posture. And then from there, I'm going to exhale. As I do that, I'm thinking about pulling my lower abs and my pelvic floor up, and I'm thinking about crunching my upper abs down so my ribs are down. So I'm in that nice stacked position. The second thing I'm thinking about doing in that position is pulling my shoulder blades down. I'm not trying to pull them back like I'm doing a bench press and lift my chest way up. I'm trying to keep my chest nice and open and just squeeze my shoulder blades down. My goal from here is, now that I've created this tension, I want to keep this tension, and to get myself down to the bar, I'm going to push my knees forward and sit my bum back. I'm not going to drop and reach down to the bar. I'm going to move my legs to bring me towards the bar. From here, I'm going to grab the bar, left hand, then right hand. And the things I need to focus on setting from here is I need to get my lats tight, my upper back tight, and I need to get the slack out of the bar. So in one simultaneous movement, I'm trying to pull the slack out of the bar, break the bar in half to get my lats tight. So think if you're literally trying to snap the bar and pull your pinkies towards each other. And I'm trying to squeeze my upper back to pull my shoulder blades down. So when I focus on breaking the bar in half, I'm gonna feel like I'm closing my armpits and tightening my lat, but I also want to think about squeezing my shoulder blades down and using that muscle between my shoulder blades and below. Once I've got all this tight, I'm also trying to pull the slack out of the bar. So when I talk about pulling the slack out of the bar, think if the bar is sitting inside the plate, as you first pull on the bar, it doesn't lift the bar off the ground, it just lifts the bar up against the top of the plates. So the first thing I need to do is pull all of that slack out of the bar until I hear that click on either side of the plates. Then once I've got this slack, I'm going to drive my knees through and get my shins as close to the bar as I can. Then I'm going to push into the floor to stand up. So if I can get all of these bits right, when I pull into that position, knees through, break the bar tight and pull the slack, My shoulder should be straight over the top of my hand, not in front or behind. If my shoulder starts in front, the bar is going to swing away from me. And if I start with my shoulders behind, I'm going to end up sitting too far back and my weight's going to shift back onto my heels. If I start with my shoulder over my hand, then the bar is going to stay over the middle of the foot as I come up, and that is the exact goal. So to actually finish the lift and get to the top, you need to have your hips straight, knees straight, and shoulders over your hips. So everything needs to be in a straight line. In a competition sense, if your shoulders are still in front of your hips, it doesn't count. And if your hips aren't straight or your knees aren't straight, then it doesn't count either. So those are the standards we should be holding ourselves to, and that's definitely the aim. And if you can't get all the way to the top, then something you're doing at the bottom is wrong. Then when I set up for the next rep, this can take a lot of practice to get used to, but I bring the bar back down, keep it nice and close to my shins as I come down. Then I lift my hips up to take a breath in. I'm gonna take that breath in and hold it, and then do the exact same process I did before of pushing my knees through, open my chest, pull my shoulders down and my lats tight. Then once I've pulled that slack out of the bar, keep those arms nice and long and push the floor away. That bar is only moving because my legs are pushing into the floor. There's no pulling on the bar from my upper body. I'm just holding the bar tight and then letting my legs do all the work.